Hi there, folks. Simon here. Welcome to another Q1 2022 January Beginner Attack Tournament match. This time a semifinals match between SevMoun and MehrGills. If we take a look here at the bracket, we see SevMoun was victorious over Puhog, and then MehrGills had gotten the bye that last round, so he was up here already. So SevMoun and MehrGills are facing off to see who takes on Wags in the finals. We did not get to cover the Wags versus Tag Tavern match, though it was very exciting by all accounts because they did split their games, each winning one game, and then they had to play Blitz playoff matches, and I think they had to play 6 games before Wags ended up coming out on top. So very impressive showing there from both players. And then Wags coming out into the finals. So whoever wins this match between MehrGills and SevMoun will go on to the finals against Wags. And that should be pretty exciting. So we'll be seeing some excellent play out of these two beginner players. And jumping right in, again, this tournament does have those same rules as the rest of the beginner tournament games did, which is on a size 6 board, so 6x6, with 15-minute time limit and a 10-second increment. These games do not have any Komi on them, but will be played just normally. So they will be playing 2 games, each having a chance to play as both colors. Both of these players have started the game, at least they joined the community at basically the same day back in October of 2021. And MehrGills has played just about twice as many games as SevMoun has. SevMoun has about 50 games underneath his belt, and MehrGills has, I believe, 106, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look here. MehrGills at 109, sorry, and then SevMoun down here at 50. So very close in rating. Despite them having MehrGills having twice as many games, still very close in terms of number of games played. And again, they started basically on the same day, so pretty close. We should be seeing a close matchup here. And we are good to go, ready to play as soon as they make this seek. So we'll be ready to jump right into game 1 of SevMoun versus MehrGills. And here we go with game 1, SevMoun as white and MehrGills as black. And we see the first move in A6 and then F6 adjacent corners. Will we see that mirrored opening start? We do see that center control from white, and black going in for that mirrored opening that we see so much of. White building straight down, black building across. This is where black makes that first deviation. Instead of playing a capstone over here, decides to place a black flat on this side. White now building across here, not going to place that capstone, interestingly enough, even though it's a pretty solid position. Black then fortifies that for white coming across, builds a stone here to be able to capture back. Then white drops the first capstone. I think this is a pretty good position here for white. White going to want to drop a flat down here pretty soon. Black drops that capstone in preparation, ready to come across and capture down over onto D3. White now going to shift gears, going to go for that horizontal threat instead of that vertical one. Now that this black capstone is down below their own capstone, they can shift gears, go for this horizontal, and not have to worry about this capstone really getting in the way at all. And so that's going to be a pretty solid position. I'd say white is in a really good position here on the board. And black now trying to make that threat before white can. And they do have momentum, technically. White, if they played at E6 here, I think that would be the move to take that. Instead of playing over at A4, again, not a threat, but black can place here at F5, go for that threat. White can, white would have to respond in a way that wouldn't give them a threat, because if they did respond in a way that gave them a threat, for example, C5 minus, that would be attack threat, but it would also give black a road if, again, black plays here at F5, which I think is likely. They do play at F5. This is where white's going to have to make some sort of capture move here to stop black from making that road. It could be this capstone coming up. It could be C5 coming right. C5 coming right would be a vertical tack threat, and that would be stopping black's horizontal and also creating their own tack threat. Doesn't, brings up the capstone instead. Really focused on this horizontal now. Really wants to keep this black capstone out of play here and sort of away from the rest of the action. I think this is a good moment for black to bring that capstone over onto d3. Make sure this capstone can get into the action, get into the game, and have a little bit more mobility by being on top of that stone. Able to toss up here into the lines of white and really get into it. Instead, black's going to place a flat over at e4. And I don't really think that was a very strong move here. I think we'll be seeing white play maybe up at e6, maybe at c6. Oh, instead they're going to go for that horizontal, or that vertical road, and I don't think that's the best of choices right now, because now black is very much encouraged to bring that capstone over, and that's not what white wanted to happen, especially now with this stack here on d5 ready for black to take it. Black can now throw this capstone up onto d5 and liberate that captive and do some work from there. And white now placing at c5. Again, not a threat, but it's weakly going for one. Placing at e6 on the next turn would make that into a threat. I think that white making this capture here wasn't the best of moves, and it really opens up a lot of options here for black. I think black can shift gears, maybe place up at c6, maybe place down at c2. Either of those work fine. And they can go for that vertical line and eventually toss this up, or they can toss the capstone up now and keep white from capturing onto it themselves. We will take a note that MehrGills is just down below 14 minutes on the clock, whereas SevMoun is above the 15-minute mark here, playing a little bit quicker to stay above that start time of 15 minutes, using that 10-second increment to his advantage. Looks like SevMoun has disconnected here. Hopefully they reconnect soon. But black did make that capstone move, tossing that up all the way onto d5. Able to liberate that captive. Okay, SevMoun has reconnected, thankfully. But now he's able to liberate that captive, capture down. White probably wants to do something with this stack, maybe toss it to the left, capturing onto c4, and then self-capture onto b4, able to do some more damage in that vertical direction there. It seems like the play to maybe bring the whole stack over onto just c4. Bring both of them over to c4. Doesn't seem that great of a move, but I have been wrong before. But I do think they want to move this d4 stack so black doesn't immediately retake it. It's a tricky position here for white. White instead capturing right, interestingly. This is where I think black is going to shift gears and go for this vertical threat going down at c2. No, playing here at d4. Trying to figure out why they might do that. Not quite sure the reasoning behind that one. I do think a c2 would have been pretty good there, going for that vertical threat, just pushing the momentum that black has. I'd say black is in a much better position at this moment. But that can change very quickly. Again, it's only 14 moves in. White now playing at d3 to sort of protect against this. Also capturing up onto d4 with d3 would be attack threat in the horizontal direction. Coming down with c5 also. White could also be going for that vertical line as well at the same time with that d3 placement. Placing here at e3 would also be working for that vertical threat. Not a bad choice as well. So yeah, I'd say d3 works pretty well for black there. d3 also able to come left and interrupt a vertical line that black goes for. Black comes left with the capstone, surprisingly. I'm not sure quite what that move does for black here. Sure, it moves towards this vertical line, but a placement would have done a much better job, I think. And this capstone staying on d5 would have been better to be able to recapture onto d4 if any capture happened there. Coming left does make it so white's not able to make that horizontal threat. But again, not the strongest of moves, I'd say. I'd say waiting a move. So we look here, white placed at d3. If black waited for a capture onto d4, then this capstone could come down. If this happened first, then you'd see a recapture, so a lot that could have been done there. White places at e3 now, sort of committing towards that vertical threat. Black now able to play at c2, make their own vertical threat. This is where we might see a placement at c1 or left capture with d2. Those seem like the most likely of lines for white to take here. Left with d2 makes a possible threat option in the horizontal direction for white. Not particularly strong, but it is viable. And a throw like that could be missed. Again, these are beginner tournaments, and while everyone is completely able to miss easy threats and throws like that, it is more likely in these beginner tournaments where these players, again, have just 100 games or 50 games underneath their belts. It's easier to miss those threats. White is playing down at c1, blocking that threat. So we could be seeing play at b2 here on the next turn, or maybe at b1 or at d1. Any of those would complete that threat. Doesn't want to play at d1, though. That works kind of against them. Maybe. Actually, they all work just fine. But I like b2 a little better. b2 first, and then maybe play at a1 after white plays it at b1 here. No, going to be playing at b1 first. Now, we'll see some sort of capture move here, whether it be from d2 left or c1 plus. One of those is going to happen. And black is able to renew his threat just by placing at b2 or at c3, but likely b2. Does place at the b2. Now white is able to place a flat here, I believe. Yeah, a flat here would stop it. And a flat would also be attack threat for white. So placing a flat at b3 would stop black's threat and make white's horizontal threat. I think that's probably the best move to make, even though it is a little risky right now. Black does have a good position. White's built up a pretty solid position too, though. However, that white capstone is out of the action. Black's capstone has a little bit more play here. White instead dropping a wall there. Going to go for the more conservative approach instead of making that threat. Black may decide to drop a flat here at c1, renew that attack threat. I think c1 looks pretty good for me. Might force that wall to come right or down. If it comes right, then black just fills in again at b3, renews the threat. If it comes down, black won't be able to immediately renew that threat. Might decide to switch gears, go for a horizontal along the bottom. Or fill in here at b3 just to keep white from making that horizontal tack threat. I do think c1 works pretty well there. Does decide to drop at c1. All right, we're seeing both players right around the same amount of time on the clock here, 11 and a half versus 11 minutes. This is a tack threat for black, coming right with b2 or coming up with c1 would be a road. White's going to have to respond to that with some sort of capture move here. And I'm thinking that the capture move is likely going to take place with this wall, maybe come down with the wall. Could also take place up here, but I don't think that's going to happen because of white wanting to keep these here for future horizontal tack threats. I think we're likely to see this wall come down to b2. Again, because coming right leaves black the ability to just fill in here and renew the threat. Filling in would allow black to come left with c4 and complete that road. If he comes down, black won't be able to immediately renew. We'll have to place here to keep white from going for the horizontal, or place here to keep white from going for the vertical. So either way, I'd say that works out pretty well for white. Coming down with that wall allows white to make a threat on the next turn without black being able to renew. So I'd say that's pretty good move there. We'll see if white sees that or maybe sees something better that I don't see. White may also decide to bring this stack up, but I don't think that's a great play. Black wouldn't be able to capture it with the capstone throw because that would lead to a road for white, but it's a tricky position there. Does decide to move that stack upwards, surprisingly. Maybe hoping for black to make that mistake and throw that capstone down. I am interested to see what black does here next. Black may decide to switch gears, but it's in a pretty tricky predicament right now. White's capstone is sort of pinned, can't come down because it would lead to a road for black. So black wants to keep that. Coming down with this flat would ruin a lot of what he's been going for and allow white to sort of retake that with this wall stack or this wall here, and then black wouldn't be able to smash it again because of the road that it would give to white. I think black is going to have to give this up and shift gears, maybe go for a horizontal along the bottom, play at d1, and just kind of hope things work out from there. What else could he go for? Because there's currently no tack threat for white. But white can make a tack threat on the following turn. I think black's best bet here is to make a placement. Again, d1 works really well for that. Could also decide to drop maybe a wall here or here Dropping a wall at f3 is pretty good because it can come up for a horizontal threat, it can come left for a vertical one. Decides to drop a wall here to be able to come up. We might see white self-capture with this b3 wall. If it does self-capture, I think we're likely to see black just fill in with b3. Or white could say, all right, fine, you want to drop your wall there? I'm going to place it d1 and go for this vertical tack threat that you have to respond to, and you can't do it by capturing up here like you want to. So that is also another very viable move here that white could take, is just place it d1 and fight this wall by placing a flat and making another threat. I think of the two moves, capturing over with the wall and placing it d1, I'd say d1 is the stronger of those moves to be able to force black to come right with this wall. And that's what he does. All right, he's dropped there. Now black's got to make a capture along this line. It could be c1 right. It could be... Oh, looks like he went for d4 right. That's a good move there. Because now, if white can't bring the capstone down, if white takes f4 left, yes, it's a attack threat, but black can drop a wall at e6, and suddenly white doesn't have the option of bringing the capstone to the right to make that wall again. So he probably, and then e3 plus does it. Okay, he did do that. We may see that wall drop here at e6 now. If the wall drops at e6, I think we're likely to see something like flat here at f3, maybe? Oh no, a flat at f4 would be a lot better. Yeah, a flat at f4 would work a lot better. So a flat at f4 would be that vertical threat here. Okay, so white came over with, or black came over with c1 onto d1 to stop that vertical. So a flat at f4 would be pretty solid. Same with a flat at f3 would also work, make that horizontal tack threat. Both of those would do the same thing. The f4 one would just be trickier because you would leave behind a white here, black, and then white. f3, you could just bring the whole stack over and go white, white. White could also place here at e6. I like e6 actually a lot better because that also goes for that horizontal tack threat and makes the vertical anchor point. I think e6 would have been the best move there actually, now that I'm looking at it. But he did play at f3 instead, which is the simplest of the moves. Again, we are in a beginner tournament, so it's easier to spot that one. But I think that here, if he played at e6, that works towards this vertical line and also makes a horizontal tack threat, leaves white, drops black, drops white, and that makes that road that's really windy. And then if black stops it, probably with a wall here, white places again here at e2, I guess. Or if there's a wall here, comes down with d6 to be able to come down with the capstone eventually as well. But he plays at f3 instead of playing up at e6. Now we're going to see a different game here. I think we're going to be seeing a wall here at d4. Makes a lot of sense to me here. Black wants to use a wall to capture this, liberate those captives. Black coming right on top of that stack. White would not be able to smash it unless they did something beforehand like d6 minus or f6 minus. or coming up here onto b5. Those would be the only ways to do that because this capstone, again, is pinned where it is. It's a tricky spot here for black, that's for sure. Ooh, black gives up the pin, comes down with the capstone, with the whole stack ready to come right and capture onto that. Can't actually do that. He's not threatening this at all. That was a really surprising move to bring that capstone down. I think a wall would have done a much better job of it, but he brought that down. Now, let's see what white does in return. White doesn't have to worry about this stack being captured by this capstone. If he does that, then white wins with a road. So white can secure this position a little bit more, maybe place a flat at e6. I like a flat going at e6. I think that's pretty good. I'll work for that vertical line yet again. Yeah, I think that this move, coming with the capstone down, was a pretty big blunder. And so white has a good opportunity here to take care of that. However, okay, now that this capstone's here, sure, he can't toss this over, but he does have the opportunity to bring this wall up onto c3 and then spread it across. Actually, that's not a bad play. Be able to take that wall up. And so if white plays at e6, black brings the wall up, white won't be able to continue this threat because black will just spread across. Okay, that's strong, being able to do that. White may need to self-capture with this wall to keep black from doing that. But if white does that, then black drops a flat at b3 and makes another tag threat. Oh, that's tricky. That works really, really well. What I thought was a blunder is actually working out to be a really solid move here. Because it looks like they brought this capstone to be able to bring it over right, which is a disaster move. But it actually ends up working really, really well for him because now they're able to bring that wall up to make those moves. So let's take a look. White brought the capstone down, which is interesting. White did not need to bring the capstone down to protect that. White needed to protect this. Black should bring, because this stack wasn't in danger at all. Maybe white missed that. Maybe black missed that. But now black can bring this wall up and spread right. And I guess white could bring the capstone down on the next turn after this wall goes up. But that doesn't really do much to stop. Because black can then play at e5 if the capstone comes down. And then white's going to have to make a capture along that horizontal to stop him. Additionally, you've got black being able to play at c5. Ooh, yeah, that's the tricky one. Okay, so if white plays something over here, anywhere over on this half of the board, black can play at c5 on the next turn. And the reason why this is a really good threat is because c5 goes for that horizontal line, right? Well, not just that. c5 also goes for this vertical line here. Black is able to leave one black, and then bring the white and the wall here, which makes a connection road all the way up here with a drawbridge threat. And that would be a very tricky one to spot, one very, very easily missed, especially in these beginner games. Very easy to miss that sort of threat. So if black has the opportunity on the next turn to drop a flat at c5, we may be seeing the game end. Not that it's Tinue, but that it's difficult to spot and maybe missed. Not Tinue because b5 can come up onto, or b4 can come up to b5 and do that with a b4 plus move. And that would stop both threats at once, at least temporarily. And b4 plus, again, is portable tack notation, and that is covered in the portable tack notation or PTN video of Tack University. So white decided to drop a wall here at c2. All right, so that stops the drawbridge threat. Black's still able to drop a flat at c5 to make the horizontal threat here, or they can place it e5 to make the capstone smash threat. Then a wall wouldn't be able to drop it at the open spot. Does decide to still play c5, surprisingly. So white can bring the capstone up or drop a wall here at e5 and stop black's threat. Black can't bring this down for the tack threat there, but can decide to spread across to the right if this one fails and go for that. But it was a good spotting the drawbridge threat, being able to drop that wall here. Some solid play we've seen out of these players so far. These guys definitely aren't going to be qualifying as beginners in the next beginner tournament we have. All right, looks like white decided to just drop a flat there at e5. That does interrupt the tack threat. Black can renew just by placing a flat here at e6. I doubt they're going to do that, but it would work. Let's also take a look at the flat count differential here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for black. However, black has one +3 move available and one +5 move available. So it's looking a lot better for black in terms of flat count. Again, these +3 and +5 moves, those are FCD or flat count differential moves. And I talk about those in the flat count differential or FCD video of Tack University. And you get a better idea about what I mean when I'm talking about these +2, +3, +5 moves, things like that. Black now building here at a3. This is working towards that vertical tack threat. Playing at a2 on the next turn would give them a tack threat by being able to take this capstone and make that +3 move, also making the tack threat there. I think actually instead of placing at a2, black might go for the spread before, and then the only option that white's got to stop it, I guess, would be to drop a wall here. Maybe. Coming up wouldn't do anything. Coming left wouldn't do anything, so yeah, they would have to drop another wall here at a2. But instead, white's going to play up here a6, or e6. Let's see, is that a threat? Leave a white, leave a white. No, it's not a threat. White would have to spread straight down because of how this works. So no tack threat here for white. Black can place now at a2 and make that vertical tack threat, or spread left and make that vertical tack threat now. And black still has this c3 stack to come right and really ruin everything that white's building towards, so not too much of an issue there. Black taking his time here. We do see that SevMoun down to 2 minutes on the clock. And MehrGills just barely below 4 minutes now. So the tables have turned in terms of time. All right, what are we looking at here? Again, this is just game one in this 2-game match between SevMoun and MehrGills. Black is going to drop that A2 flat, making that vertical tag threat. White can stop that by capturing up. They won't be able to capture up with this wall. Going to capture left with the wall. Black can renew that threat by placing it B3. Yeah, placing it B3 works really well. That's exactly what they do. And this is a attack threat by coming left with the capstone and coming right with the wall stack. I think that move coming left with the wall was probably not the defense that White wanted to make there. White now comes left with this other wall. Black might be playing here at C2 next. Maybe even C1. But I could definitely see C2 happening. It would not be a tag threat. And Black can't immediately renew the tag threat, which means White's going to be able to make the next threat. Black may decide to spread right with this wall stack, leaving the flat here, leaving the wall here on E3. That's exactly what they do. White can't smash this, otherwise they do lose to a road from Black. Looks like SevMoun has disconnected. Unfortunately, we'll see if he reconnects in time. Hopefully he does. He's got 1 minute and 45 seconds left on the clock. And he's in a tough position here. Has reconnected. All right. What will he do in response to this wall going over here onto E3? Just about down to 1 minute left on the clock. I believe Black is ahead on flats again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. Up by 3 in terms of flat count. Black still has a +3 and a +2 move available. Though we aren't close to flats by reserve ending yet, but that is a pretty solid advantage. White now down to 39 seconds left on the clock. White played here at C1, ready to come right onto D1, I imagine. Keep Black from making any threats in that way. I think we'll see Black maybe play at C3. No, he's going to be playing here at C4. Surprising. Black probably going to play here at e2. White looks like they're going for the vertical along this side. Black can play at e2, and that's attack threat coming left onto d2. This f2 spot could come left onto e2. However, this wall stack can come down on top of that to recover and still make that threat. Now he's going to play at c2 instead. Surprising. I think in response to that, we might see c1 come right. c1 coming right makes a lot of sense here, but SevMoun down to 10 seconds left on the clock. Is he going to be able to make the move in time? He comes left with the capstone instead. Are we going to see Black play here at c3? No, we're seeing Black take that wall stack, bring it up, makes that road. I didn't even spot that one because I didn't expect that capstone to move. So the capstone came left. Black able to take that wall stack, spread it upwards, and drop that stone right there to make that horizontal threat. Really, really well played to both players. Well played to SevMoun, and congratulations to MehrGills for winning Game 1 of this beginner tournament match. Really, really well done. So we've got MehrGills taking Game 1 as Black. Now SevMoun will be playing as Black in Game 2. And he's got to win that one if he wants to take this to the Blitz playoff games to make it into that finals. Otherwise, if MehrGills wins next game, or even if they take a draw next game, MehrGills will be headed to the finals against Wags. All right, looks like they're ready to play Game 2. MehrGills as White, SevMoun as Black. Here we go. All right, here we go with first move of the game, A1. Will we see F1 for adjacent corners? Yes, we will. Now, White going to go for that Knight's opening, made famous by Fwib, or Fwib. And Black then building off to the side, interesting, and dropping that capstone right up against the edge of the board, something you don't see too often because it is very difficult to transition from. White now shifting gears to that horizontal line, playing off to here to the left at D2. Going to be able to shift and go for the horizontal threat. Black sort of has their capstone in a bind here. White now able to drop that capstone in a really solid position here, able to capture down or right without having that capstone be isolated and still work to their advantage no matter which direction things go. I'd say White is in a stronger position right now. That Knight's opening is a pretty solid opener, especially if you get your opponent to place that capstone right along the edge of the board. White now placing up here, kind of hoping Black takes the bait and comes left. Now we get White probably going to come down, maybe right with this, probably down. Right with the capstone. Actually, I have no clue. Clearly, I don't have a clue. White instead going to be playing off to the right here at F3, stop Black from being able to make that anchor point on this side of the board, maybe go for that vertical threat still, playing here at F2 would work towards that vertical, also help work towards that horizontal at the same time. That's exactly what they do. Black probably going to be dropping a flat here at F4. No, going to drop a wall, really shutting things down. Not worried about making their own horizontal threat using this line, I guess. All right, so White has decided to build here at A3, make that anchor point. Now they're able to come down or come right with the capstone, make that attack threat. Coming down, clearly the better attack threat of those two, because it would be able to allow White to make attack threat by a road by placing at B3 or bringing A3 down. And then the only options Black has to stop it are capturing with this capstone down, this flat down, this flat down, or this flat up now. Quite a few options, I'd say. Quite a few. Now we're going to see probably this capstone come down onto B2. And if anything captures onto c2 after that, no, he comes right with it. Interesting. Did not expect that at all. Again, b3 minus was a much stronger threat. And that move is just plain intriguing. So black can just place a flat there to stop it. Black would have black would have been forced to make a capture had white captured down with the capstone instead. Now we get white renewing the threat by placing a flat here at b4. We may see black make a capture over here or decide to come left with c4. Capturing up wouldn't be great there. Capturing down with d3 is the better choice because then the capstone won't be able to immediately recapture and liberate those captives. Does come left with c4. We are likely to see an a4 placement or a c4 placement. We do see the c4. White wants to be able to capture left on top of that b4 stack. If white can't capture left with that b4 stack, it's because black has captured with d5, then white can take the capstone up to d5. Okay, white just captures right with a3. Saying, go for it, capture onto the b3 stack, I'll just bring my capstone on top of it. Looks like SevMoun is disconnected again, unfortunately. Alright, what do we see in here? How's black going to stop it? Just another flat placed. And is white going to drop just another flat on a4? Probably not. They probably have some other plan in mind. Yes, they're going to capture onto b4. Then if b5 comes down, b3 is going to come up. And then we may see a wall drop here at b3. And then this white stack goes to the right. All right, I think I see what MehrGills is doing here. It's a pretty solid position, forcing black to make these flat-on-flat captures and then white able to recover them. And then have more powerful stacks to make stronger flat count differential moves later on. Black just drops a wall there. I think we might see white take this stack and bring it down. Self-capture onto b3 and then capture onto b2. No, instead he brings it up. I think coming down would have been better. It would have been a really solid move. Then black would have had to make a capture here or here, something like that. Probably down here at d2. Yeah, it would have been really, really strong. I think coming down with it would have been a really, really great move. But that was attack threat regardless. Coming up here, all the way from f1 up to b6 was attack threat. But then black fills in here at b4, and then white fills in here at c5. Now c5, again, another attack threat by placing here at c4. I can't help but feel like the c4 placement would have been better. But maybe I'm wrong. Because a c4 would have allowed white to place at c5 or capture left with c4. But doesn't do that. I'm not sure why they went for that move instead of the other one that seemed much better. We do see the fill in with d5, and that's going to go for that horizontal line up here at the top. And also kind of secure this position in case white wants to take e4 left and go for that tricky attack threat. e4 left would be a throw, dropping one black, and then placing the final white stone here at b4 to continue this vertical attack threat all the way from F1 to B6, which would be nuts. But yeah, white looks very much in control of this game. Really, really forcing the play here. No current attack threat from white. However, I think black, if black takes this wall right with a self-capture, white's just going to drop another flat here at A4 to continue the threat. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. Black's in quite a bit of trouble here. MehrGills is showing some solid skills, why he made it to the top of his group. Okay, this is where we'll probably see an A4 placement from white after that self-capture, though the self-capture wall can now come down onto B3 if white does place at A4. They could even bring this down, drop one onto B3, and then the wall here at B2 to be able to spread across and make a +3 move at the end. That could work pretty well. Yeah, I think that's the move here if white does place at A4. They might have some other plans that I am not seeing, however. What will be the move? Tough to say. All right, looks like A4 was the play. Is black going to make that move? Dropping B4 all the way down to B2 with that wall spread. I do like that move. I think that would ultimately work out really well for him to take, again, 2B4 minus 1, 1. That would stop the threat and allow black to take this B2 stack to the right for a spread and a +3 move and interrupt a lot of what white's building for here with the horizontal and the vertical. White would then be forced to sort of go for the horizontal up here. After that move, white would likely play here at F5. For the horizontal, and then black would be forced to take D4 plus to stop that. No immediate renewal, so black could then take that wall stack to the right. I think that's the way to do it. I think it is. I think it is. Black taking his time here, down to 10 minutes on the clock. MehrGills just below 15 at that 14.5-minute mark. We did see last game, SevMoun did take more time on these turns. Ooh, instead black brings that down. I think that may also work. But now white makes the smash. No hesitation there from white. That's a good move. That is a good move, which is also why I liked that black wall coming down onto B2. That is strong. White is in a really, really good position now. I think, yeah, this is strong. Black's got to do something here, and I don't know what it's going to be. I am at a loss. What can Black do to get out of this? I'm sure there's something Black can do. Maybe. I'm actually not so sure. White has got a really great position here. This wall and capstone are basically stuck where they are because of this vertical threat. White's got a horizontal threat building here, got a vertical threat building here. Like, all four corners of the board basically have White's threats in them. And there are multiple threats, at least 3. Black has no threats available. White can drop a flat now at f5. Go for that horizontal threat up at the top. No, decides to come right with this. And that is attack threat. Coming left with e4 onto d4 would be a vertical road all the way up here. I guess the wall could come left, but then you got White dropping a flat here at f5, creating both a vertical and a horizontal attack threat at the same time. Huh. Yeah, this is a really rough position here for Black. If he somehow makes it out of this, I am going to be very surprised. I see this game probably not lasting beyond move 25. But, you know, I've been wrong before. Probably on the previous game. So, I can't be sure of anything right now. Black drops. He missed it. He missed the road. He missed the threat. White's going to be able to take e4 left and make that road now in the vertical all the way from b6 to f1. Unless White also misses their own threat, which is very possible. Again, I've done it a billion times. So, will he miss it? Are they talking about it? What's he doing here? What's he doing? I think White doesn't see his own road. Now, I've had this a few times where I've thought, okay, if he does this, then I'll do this, and I had this plan out for how my opponent would defend against my road threat. And then when he misses my road, I go to play a move that is not my road, but is the move that I would have played if he were defending. So I've done that before, but MehrGills doesn't do that. He does take the win, makes a road in game 2. MehrGills takes it, and that means he is moving on to face Wags in the finals of this Q1 beginner tournament. So, well played to both players. SevMoun, you did a great job. MehrGills, you played a really, really great both games. Both players did, and that was a lot of fun to watch. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord server, which is where you can find all sorts of resources, including strategy guides and just other people to play with, whether it be online at playtac.com or online through the Discord, playing asynchronous games, just playing 5 minutes a day if you want to. So that is all I got for you today. Until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.